Hans Kammler, a name synonymous with the darkest chapters of Nazi Germany, was a man whose influence and brutality left a chilling mark on history. As an SS-Obergruppenführer and a doctor, Kammler rose to become one of the most powerful figures in the decaying Nazi regime. Known for his imposing demeanor, ingenious mind, and insatiable lust for power, Kammler was instrumental in the creation of Nazi concentration camps, the V2 rocket project, and Germany's late-war emergency fighter programs. Even Albert Speer, Hitler's chief architect, once described him as Himmler's most brutal and ruthless henchman. Yet, in the waning days of the war, as his power peaked, Kammler vanished without a trace, sparking numerous theories and speculations about his ultimate fate. Hans Kammler began his career with aspirations of engineering success in a Germany struggling to find its footing after World War I. A fervent patriot, Kammler missed the opportunity to serve in the First War, but found his calling in 1919 when he joined the Rossbach Freikorps, one of several right-wing paramilitary groups that emerged post-war. Kammler was deeply involved in the violent clashes against German communist factions during the tumultuous Weimar Republic era. By 1931, he had joined the Nazi Party, and in 1933, he became a member of the SS. His charisma and education propelled him up the ranks, eventually making him deputy chief of the SS's main economic and administration office. In this role, Kammler oversaw the financial and operational aspects of the Nazi state, including the construction and administration of numerous concentration camps. Kammler was no stranger to cruelty, and he quickly suggested grim solutions for managing camp populations, including the construction of crematoriums. His involvement extended into the Third Reich's secret weapons programs, where he led the development of remote underground facilities for producing Nazi Wunderwaffe. By 1942, he was overseeing production plants and test facilities for the V2 rocket and the new Messerschmitt Me-262 jet. His dedication to his work saw him rise to oversee operations and weapon development, solidifying his grip on power. The development facilities for the V1 and V2 rockets were strategically located underground and connected to concentration camps, allowing Kammler to exploit an endless supply of slave labor. His notorious disregard for human life was evident when he responded to suggestions to improve worker conditions by saying, "Don't worry about the victims. The work must proceed ahead in the shortest time possible." As Kammler became more integral to the Nazi war effort, he found himself under the authority of Albert Speer, Hitler's Minister of Armaments and War Production. While Speer saw Kammler as an ally, Kammler harbored ambitions for Speer's position and authority. His machinations paid off when he convinced Hermann Göring, head of the Luftwaffe, to appoint him director of special buildings under the fighter aircraft program, undermining Speer's authority. As the war neared its end, Hitler's desperation led to a consolidation of power among a few individuals. Kammler capitalized on this chaos, persuading Hitler to transfer the V2 program to the SS. Heinrich Himmler then appointed Kammler to lead missile operations, launching the V2 campaign against the Allies. On January 31, 1945, Kammler was appointed head of all missile projects. However, with a critical shortage of explosives, the program slowed to a halt. In early April, Hitler transferred aircraft support, maintenance, service, and supply duties from Göring to Kammler, bestowing upon him the title of Führer's General Plenipotentiary for jet aircraft. In a matter of months, Kammler had ascended to one of the highest echelons of Nazi power. As the Wehrmacht crumbled under the relentless Allied advance, Kammler's ruthlessness intensified. In late March 1945, he ordered the execution of over 200 workers after suspecting foul play when his car was delayed on a busy road in the Sauerland. With Germany engulfed in chaos, Kammler became a fugitive, evading Allied spies, troops, and his superiors' orders. He attempted to relocate his missile program, but eventually his forces were redirected to join the infantry. Disregarding direct orders, Kammler abandoned the Nordhausen facility and hid valuable scientists and technicians before disappearing. British records from Operation Little Foxley, which sought to assassinate him, provide glimpses of Kammler's final days in Germany. In April 1945, Kammler survived massive Royal Air Force airstrikes in Nordhausen, which claimed 8,800 lives. He and his team fled to safety, and on April 13th, he reportedly met with Albert Speer in Munich. Kammler and his staff then hid research documents at Linderhof Palace, near an extensive SS lair and the Messerschmitt 262 factory in Oberammergau, evading British commandos. The group moved again on April 28th to Avon in Austria, near a concentration camp where prisoners constructed an underground armaments storage facility. On May 3rd and 4th, just days before Germany's surrender, Kammler and his staff headed to Prague, still under German occupation. Kammler and his driver, Friedrich Baum, separated from the convoy, and his trail went cold. British reports indicate Kammler last communicated on May 7th with a hiding SS group, but his fate thereafter is unconfirmed. One account suggests Kammler reached Prague, was shot in the knee during the Czech uprising, and was killed by partisans. However, a senior army sergeant named Friedrich Baum, with a similar injury, was admitted to a hospital in Austria on May 23rd and died of infection. Some historians speculate Kammler assumed Baum's identity, attempting to escape the post-war chaos, but ultimately succumbing to blood poisoning and being buried in a mass grave. Other stories claim Kammler committed suicide while on the run. Some associates initially said he escaped to Ebensee with his wife, where they took cyanide tablets. Others claim Kammler left Prague on May 9th, then shot or poisoned himself, and was buried in an unmarked grave. However, a 1949 U.S. Counterintelligence Corps report refuted this, stating Kammler was captured by the Americans in May 1945, but escaped to East Germany to work for the Soviets. To this day, Kammler's fate remains a mystery. Some analysts believe the Prague story was fabricated to provide a plausible explanation for his fate in the Soviet occupation zone, where no proper investigation could occur. The Allies' lack of urgency in searching for Kammler led many to suspect they had him in custody, hiding this from the Soviets. Notably, Kammler's name was absent from the Berg trials, raising further suspicions. Another theory posits that Kammler was taken to the United States, where he was held in a secret location and tortured until his death in 1947. Declassified American files support this claim, listing Kammler among senior German Air Force personnel in custody as of May 30, 1945. His capture is documented in a July 10, 1945 file as a prisoner being interrogated. Despite evidence, Hans Kammler's ultimate fate remains unknown. Some historians suggest he committed suicide in American custody, while others believe he evaded justice. If you enjoyed this content, visit our channel for more stories like this. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. Also, let us know in the comments where you are watching from.